Welcome back. Thank you for watching those ads. Have I missed any subs? I feel like I might have. ZvT4DX for the 8-month resub. Go HeroMarine. Daxter33 for the 15-month resub. Capricorn for 28 months. And I think that does catch me up. So I'll thank you very much for the subs. It's a best of 5 TVZ starting off on Acolyte in the bottom left. That's the red Terran. It is HeroMarine. The top right is the blue Zerg. It is Nerchio. Thank you very much to 47ist for the 1,000 bits. No Bit Boss. Gonna cheer anyway. Well, that's much appreciated. Unfortunately, Bit Boss doesn't really work on more than 2 productions. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever because it's supposed to be connected to your browser and your cache and all that. And I literally have a different browser with a different Twitch login, and it still is like null decay no. So it just it's better not to try and fiddle with that and break the other Bit Boss that, you know, the Rifkin actually does use on his production for the off chance that I have to do production. I'll say that word one more time. But thank you very much. Much appreciated, as are the subs. If you guys want to continue to support us, you can definitely check out the Corsair links down below, not just for the peripherals, which are fantastic. They came out with a new Void wireless headset that is very good, but also for RAM and cooling and all that. So you can go down and use the links below and then just navigate from there, and that'll certainly help us. We also have a new sponsor, MeUndies, but we haven't quite set up the bells and whistles for that yet. But if you are interested, then you can check out the BaseTradeTV Twitter, where we did post the referral link for us, as well as the, I think it's like 20% off, and they're underwear, guys, and it's gonna be a weird couple of months, but so was selling slippers, and so was selling wood watches and whatever else that we sell, because we do weird things, and they're actually very, very comfortable. They come in a lot of different types and shapes and designs, and it's actually really good, and they're affordable, which I think a lot of people were afraid that they'd be very, very expensive. No, actually really well priced. So prepared to hear more about that in the future. But that spiel aside, we do have a TVZ here between 2 fabulous players. Fabulous. Nerchio going to show us some amazing Zerg. HeroMarine going to show us some amazing Terran. Already starting off with a CC first. Nerchio taking advantage with a fast third base. Only about halfway done on that speed, as opposed to mostly done, which is usually around 3 minutes. Seriously though, when did ZG dye her hair? Well, I mean, technically I dyed it a year ago, and then have been dyeing it ever since. So someone's out of the loop. Reaper's gonna scout the third base. Not much you can do about it though. HeroMarine going for a 1-on-1 follow-up to that CC first. I'm like pretty sure it was CC first. Now I'm starting to second guess myself because I was rambling. Warman and Hiatu. There we go. Swapping over to add Tech Lab onto the starports. Nerchio, I guess, notably not just going for a faster third base, but also not taking the pocket base, which is very Nerchio and also very Zerg, but even more Nerchio. A lot of Zergs will, of course, take this one as the natural, but then take this one as the third. Nerchio has been on many of the maps in the past couple of seasons, literally just foregoing that as much as possible. Him and Snoop both, actually. And continuing to expand even over here, or over here, or over here, wherever, but notably just not here. I mean, it's kind of twofold. One, that's a base later on that you could just grab if you are having trouble keeping one on the outer edges of the map. And then 2, you don't have to worry about being dropped in a saturated mineral line. You do still have to be worried about being dropped in general, though. Well, unless they play mech. And that's what HeroMarine is doing, so never mind. You could maybe get a couple medevacs, especially if you're Gumiho, go for Thor drops, but a lot less likely to be Thor dropped. And dropped at all against a mech player. HeroMarine, definitely the macro-oriented, sometimes passive guy. Definitely can see him playing mech, but haven't really gotten the treat so much as other players. I know Thermal has been doing mech lately too, like in Ladder Heroes and all that, so it's yet again making its rounds. It definitely has its ebb and flow these last couple of months where it seems to be the thing to do and then kind of dies, and then it's the thing to do and then it dies. It's like, can't decide where it wants to be in life. Banshee does get into that natural base, but there are spore crawlers, so minimal damage coming out here for that. Nerchio, not quite up to an amazing amount of drones, is just now pumping up to 60 plus, certainly getting to 70. That is a lot of Hellions, which are actually surrounded. The only time that it is smart to get Hellions versus Lings, or swap that for Lings versus Hellions, is if you know you're going to get that surround. So that was very, very risky, and obviously a lot of the Hellions still lived. But I was going to say, does Nerchio know that it's mech? No, he does not. He has not seen extra factories. He has not seen that many more Hellions. I would say that sometimes is the first indication they're going mech, is because they went far and beyond 6 Hellions, and are even sometimes being like a little too brazen with them, you know? Like, you know, why did you literally just throw away 6 Hellions, and why are there 6 more being thrown away too? Like, that's where it gets really suspicious. But I think otherwise there have been no telltale signs. HeroMarine has gone Hellion Banshee into bio in many of the games even today. So I guess he maybe saw that those were new Hellions. Are those the old Hellions just repaired? I don't know. But he saw it on his infestation pit. Another sign, I suppose, that is often forgotten, and I did forget for a second, is that literally a bio player should be attacking by now. Like, they should have attack. Basically, I think the latest they can get an attack in with 2 medevacs double drop is 7 minutes off the back of a 3rd CC. And since it wasn't a 3rd CC, it was a starport, he knows that if it was a bio follow-up, I think that still attacks at 6 or 6:30. You don't see either one of those. You just see continued Hellion presence, and that's enough for a guy like Nerchio to certainly tell that it's mech. I think he has the idea in his head now. Overlord also sees a very quick 4th base, which is not typical of a bio player at all. So all these things without literally seeing any additional factories. Or Thors. He hasn't even seen the Thors pop out, I'm pretty sure, at the front. So he's got Lings, he's got Banelings, he's got all the upgrades for all of that. He's on his way to Hive. He's going to be able to get a Swarm Host too with Infestation Pit. He has a ton of different ways to deal with any type of mech that's thrown at him. Because that's the one thing that I'm a little worried about, is that there are different ways to play mech. Knowing it's mech is one thing, but then knowing if it's Hellion Cyclone or Tank or Thor or whatever is very, very different. And while Hellion Cyclone probably has already shown itself and attacked you, you still don't know if they're going aggressive with the tanks and Thors or very, very, very passive. With the 4th base, it definitely looks like it's more passive than not. And I think that is how HeroMarine's going to play, but it's still, I think, worrying. Actually, it's also a big map, so I guess as long as he literally sees any units back at home, he's actually fine. So the mutants finally got into the main base and saw what's going down. I think they even got a glimpse of how many tanks were produced, and that's really kind of their job. I mean, the mutas obviously aren't going to do very much against mech once they realize you're going mutas, and they just get a lot of Thors and Vikings. So, doesn't want to contribute any more to that count. HeroMarine is going to get 4 bases and 2/2, and is looking like a deadly mech player indeed. Nerchio, you can definitely rely on Mutiling Bling for a while, especially if they are overly aggressive, you know, attacking before they're maxed out, because Banelings do sometimes just simply swamp the Hellions, and then the Lings can swamp the tanks after. But if they're going to play passive and super turtly and get to a lot of tanks, then you're going to need to transfer off of Baneling, and that's what he's doing. Greater Spire, Vipers, Ultra, Hydralisk, and seriously, everything going down here at once. But HeroMarine, not maxed, is closing in on 150 supply, which is their common timing, with 2/2, so definitely a timing here from HeroMarine to try and kill Nerchio before he has a very sturdy army composition. Now, 24 SCVs did go down in the mutas and a couple of Lings, so HeroMarine is on 4 bases with only 45 SCVs, but he does have a lot of mules, and that's fine for him. Pushing forward, not quite switching off his tanks yet. Banshee's even around here still helping out tiniest little bit, clearing up that creep. This is a very scary push, and Nerchio is desperately trying to get bigger and better units. He's got 6 ultras on the way, but they do not have chitinous plating, and he hasn't started. He doesn't have the gas for it. He doesn't have the gas to make Corruptors or Broodlords either, and did HeroMarine just catch Nerchio way off guard? Nerchio could give up a couple of bases and just transfer his drones elsewhere, but that is quickly running out of time. It's no longer really an option since HeroMarine's already almost into that natural base where there's going to be starting to be very important tech, as well as just a lot of production rallying forward. HeroMarine, really nice mech attack here, is definitely taking advantage of Nerchio's perhaps assumption that it was going to be a longer game. Couple of ducks go down and a blinding cloud on 2 of the tanks, but these ultras again do not have chitinous plating, just +2 carapace, and Thors alone could probably help take care of those. Things are getting a little hectic as a couple of lings run into the tanks, but the Thors are being microed, and that is it. HeroMarine takes game number 1. Very, very strong game from HeroMarine. That mech attack was pretty perfect. He wasn't really touched in the early game. The Mutas did minimal damage after his production and economy was already set up and ready to go. And as such, he got to 150 supply with 2-2 and the army composition he wanted to go for in the easiest way possible, really. That was almost a game of facing AI because there was such little to be accounted for. Just the Mutas, really. Threw a very, very, very tiny wrench into things. Now, as I host this game up, I'll also be checking the Aligulac soon, because I really think this was the series that HeroMarine was able to 3-0 Nerchio before. That must have been a couple months ago at this point, though. Players are ready to go. Yeah, so HeroMarine, not even months ago? Well, I guess it's September now. About a month and a half ago, in another Corsair Cup, did 3-0 Nerchio, so that must be what I'm remembering. Before that, he actually got defeated by Nerchio in Valencia. And then... yeah, so actually Nerchio has had the winning record up until that last series, a month and a half ago, late July, where he got 3-0'd by HeroMarine. So something's happened in the last few months with HeroMarine, man. It's just like he's eating his weed or something, because he's playing really, really well. But can he do that again? That's a tall order against Nerchio. In the top right, as the Blue Zerg losing that last game, it is Nerchio. In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, he is HeroMarine. And he looked very powerful on Acolyte with Mech. Now he's on Mech Depot with Acolytes. No, if only that was a unit. But that Mech, you know, he's not played Mech a ton. Could do it again. Maybe he knows that's something Nerchio doesn't expect from him or is weak against or something like that. But it might have also just been a once-off thing. Mech Depot, despite the name, doesn't particularly play any better than some other maps for Mech. In fact, the third base is a little bit tricky, so I would say actually not a map for Mech. The thing is, when it comes to strategies on certain maps, it has to be a very weird map to disallow builds entirely. So you could still go for it. It's like the third base has got to be like this big old area, and then it's like, you know, there's an entire pathway you're not using sometimes that lings run by, and it's actually a bit of a headache. But I like the map. I think it is an interesting design with multiple pathways, multiple, you know, high ground, low ground changes, and I do find it to be seemingly agreed upon that it's like slightly Zerg favored from the other races. It's not like anything extreme, certainly not one to complain about like it was the last couple of map pools where there was a lot of complaints. Thank you to Marlo Stanfield for the 30-month resub. Nerchio once again going for a bit faster of the third base. But not too much. Reaper's going to be able to scout that soon enough. And it is a Reaper, which already tells Nerchio without actually scouting that it is not a CC first. I also had a new sub that I missed. Crack Manetti, the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much. And Frankenfurter for the 20-month resub. I guess while we were talking about scouting and stuff like that. And it looks like someone, Rifkin actually in chat did link the MeUndies, so if you guys want to check that out. Alright, Hellion opener with the starport behind. Once again, maybe swapping over to that tech lab. It's being built in proximity, so it usually says it is. Hey. Nerchio. Well, Nerchio didn't really get to play his game. He was attempting to be the macro monster we know him as, but being met by HeroMarine wasn't, you know, that impressive or anything. And tried to play initially Mutilating Bling, realized it was mech, wanted to change things over, realized it was tank-based mech, thought he had more time, and it was a lot about him reacting after a very passive opener where they both were trying to get edges macro-wise. It just so happens that I think Nerchio got edged out timing-wise. His macro was fine, he was on his way to good units, but the timing of HeroMarine's push was certainly deadly. So this game, if HeroMarine's going to play not into mech, and if they aren't going to, you know, agree like no rush 12 minutes, then Nerchio might be able to play a bit more to his strengths, control the map a little bit more, control the game pace a little bit more. The Mutas sometimes can do that against mech players, and I would say more often than not they do. If you get them early enough, or they're surprised enough, or they're playing even more passive mech than four bases really quickly. I would say Mutas actually do a great job about controlling the game, but just that last game was not very indicative of that. Third base in the front lines, Hellions being bulked up. Usually they can't do much more. Raven was produced from the starport after the Viking, no Banshees. And we do have additional barracks on the way with Stim. Hellions now moving out. Gonna get that map control. Hellions over here. A very small amount of Hellions over here. Viking continuing to look for overlords to kill. Has gotten 2 so far. Kind of bare minimum, I would say, for the Viking. Especially against a player who doesn't go for overlord speed, which Nerchio, I would say, is pretty rare for him to do. He had like a month or two where, like many other Zerg, he always got overlord speed, but Nerchio's always been a guy that tries to tell what's happened in the game based off his basic knowledge of TV whatever, or ZV whatever rather, as well as those signs I was talking about last game, for instance, like how many Hellions were produced, you know, where's the timing attack of the bio, you know, that type of thing. So third CC's moving over. We do have Stim on the way, and so like you go for third CC, and you just push that attack off with the double drops by like a two minutes, compared to like a 2-1-1 for instance. So Nerchio should be expecting the attack around 7. He's got Bailey Nest on the way, and I'm sure he'll be producing a round of Lings. He's already up to 67 drones, so there's really no reason not to do that anyway. He's got +1 Carapace, and HeroMarine is not going to have combat shields at the attack. Fourth base on the way too. Creeps are looking fine and dandy. Raven's coming in here though now and helping the Hellions. Queens need to be very careful because auto turrets can ruin their day. There are the Banelings being morphed in and Lings around 7 minutes. But HeroMarine only just now getting those medevacs out. Gonna be a little late to the party. If Hellions die, it's not the end of the world, but they would be a little more helpful against Ling Banelings as Hellbats. Ravens survive after they're not auto turrets, and that's a little more useful. Where did those drops go? Oh, they didn't go. They stayed. Okay, so he's just not going to go for an attack at all. I mean, typically, you know, 7 minutes is a safe time. They're not going to have Spire done and Mutas ready to go, even if they went for a Spire, which Nerchio did. Just didn't make any Mutas. And you can get like one attack in before the Mutas start really shutting down drops. But HeroMarine didn't bother going for any aggression, just waiting for more Marines and a tank. Now attacking with combat shields down the middle of the map. Nerchio, as I said though, he was already up to like 70 drones, now up to 82 drones. Wasn't really much skin off his back to prepare for any attack before this anyway. Has a lot of creep spread as well, which is only now being cleaned up, and HeroMarine definitely needs to clean up. He's going to be up against typical Hook Banelings, and only a bare minimum splash here with now a second tank, so this is priority number 1. Scans and sees the base over to the top side, but not over to the right, but there probably is an assumption it's over there because a lot of Lings and Banelings just came from that direction. The tanks were on siege, and that did not go particularly well for HeroMarine. Not the worst either, though, as he's still up 15-20 army supply. Nerchio, very smart, pulls back from over-engaging and has his queens alive to continue creep spread. I love the way HeroMarine's expanded, by the way. So I was talking about this base for a while. This base is still away from the natural. You still have this area to be concerned about, but by walling off like this, he no longer has to worry about this entire avenue of attack and that side of the map. Just doesn't have to worry about it. The attacks are almost always on the right side in these positions, Terran versus Zerg, and well, of course, Nerchio could Baneling bust that eventually. It's not his main concern right now. His main concern is getting to Ling Baneling Hydra, and this is kind of interesting. He did go for that Spire, he pointed it out, and he even went for a +1 flyer attack, but then added the Hydralisk in. I'm not sure if it was to try to trick HeroMarine, or if it's because HeroMarine did scout the Spire or what, but it has gone to Ling Baneling Hydra. There is the Ling Baneling attack I was talking about on the supply depot wall. Must realize by now there wasn't a base there. Rocks being broken down is a little bit scary. Nerchio has a surround set up left and right side. Banelings crashing into the Marines, Lings crashing into the Lings. That was about as perfect as it could possibly go. Nerchio now up 30 army supply. Medivacs have to go over Hydras to get out of there, so 4 or 5 of them will go down. That was a big blow. HeroMarine probably should not have attempted to try that attack path. Didn't realize, I guess, that Nerchio had so much army over to the left side. Huge mistake, and now Nerchio is looking for the kill move. He has a lot of army, and even though HeroMarine started to produce double tanks, there was literally only 2 of them. One is still trying to get a lot of shots in, but a Ling rally should be able to do it. HeroMarine is going to tap out. GG. Well, that's going to tie things up 1-1 to no 3-0 this time. But still could go in HeroMarine's favor. It's his turn to choose the map now. So while he does that, I'm going to go to a quick break. See you soon. Welcome back. Started that countdown a little late, so hopefully everyone got to see the amazing Catalina intro. We are on Catalina for game number 3. In the middle left as the blue Zerg, it is Nerchio. In the bottom right as the red Terran, he is HeroMarine, and this was his map choice. You can definitely see why this would be Terran's map choice. I would say Terran generally gets the better end of map choices. I mean, sometimes like the big maps that open areas like Ascension Eye or something like that are a little obnoxious to deal with, just because there's really not a good strong rally push, and you know, those are troublesome. But I would say more times when there's unique maps, Terrans being decently strong in all levels of the game, early, mid, and late, have usually a pretty good time. But that's actually really not here nor there, as more specifically to Catalina as the map choice, not just general weird maps being chosen. You do have a very strong short push from natural to either main base or to their natural, no matter how they spawned. And since the natural would just obviously be like 1-to-1, like pushing right into their base, rally pushing, all that's very difficult to deal with. The main base is a problem because, of course, Terrans have that nice little option of always having medevacs and usually having tanks that they can abuse it even more so than a Protoss can, for instance, like a Warp Prisoner or something. They just usually don't do the same type of tactics. So I definitely know why HeroMarine chose this map, and it would be very rare to find a Zerg player choose this map. Protoss is, I think, maybe even as equally rare. Did I play ads? Yay, me. So... Alright, sometimes actually, the last times we've seen Catalina, in the last few casts that I've done, saw a lot of early, well, the pool firsts into Roach Warren attacks. Definitely, if you're averse to a map, then you don't really want to play the mid game, then you just cheese it out, hope to get an edge. Don't have to deal with the Terran shenanigans, but they both didn't work out, I want to say. And Nerchio doesn't bother doing anything like that anyway, it's just taking that third base again. A couple resubs. Thank you to Mad Hatter 1212 for the 15-month resub. And Merlhafa for the 2-month resub. New to the channel. Very happy so far. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Hellions get some damage done. And Ewu for the 21-month resub. Battle Cruiser for the win. Get to see that. And Master Tomil for the 8-month resub. And Marlo Stanfield, I forgot that, 30 months. These Hellions continuing to wreak havoc despite being only 2 of them with a Reaper that is now dead. I actually managed to take out a Queen and get into that drone line. 2 drones go down, more Hellions being rallied in, but Lings are now on top of them. Only 1 Hellion got to the main base. That should not be enough to scare Nerchio. These Hellions were more of a threat, and they are taken care of. So only left with 1 Hellion. These other 2 gonna run back home and not reinforce. Overlord does get taken out by a Viking opener here. 3rd CC already on the way. HeroMarine decides not to go for a tech lab addition to the starport. I guess he meant to make it on the... Oh, well, it's a reactor, so I don't know. Point is, not going to go for it anymore. 3rd CC is on the front. Hellions, enough of them to stall any type of Ling attack if Nerchio was to go for one. He's not. Or is he? He's making 8 more Lings. I guess he actually might just be worried with how many Hellions he saw. So he's getting more defensively. Yeah, it seems to be the case. And even a Spine Crawler. Since the Viking took out his Overlord, he hasn't gotten much scouting, but he did literally just see a 3rd CC, so that's already an indication they're not going to go for Hellbats. Spine Crawler might be a little bit of overkill, but oh well. He still has a strong economy being built here with 5 more drones, and +1 about to be, well, over halfway done anyways. Couple drones getting roasted again. I think that brings the total up to 4. Yeah. Anything with Hellions is kind of impressive, to be honest. Sometimes they can be pretty useless. More and more barracks being added on. Clearly bio. And I would say most times tanks. So Tech Lab is going on in that factory. Abuse this position over here with a couple of drops. It usually doesn't last very long, though. Dealing with that isn't the main problem. It's more to do with this can happen. Hop up, hop down, hop up, hop down. And then they can push using this plateau, this ramp to their advantage, and do a slow push in with a very strong rally of a short path. Very nice time. 4th base going into the top side. Of course, expand away from your opponents. Taking this base would be... I want to say suicide, but actually back when Catalina was in the map pool, so was Merry-Go-Round, and there was a very strong meta of Roach Hydra being played on those maps, and even, like, leading into other maps too. But yeah, Roach Hydra, which is now kind of a defunct strategy against Terran. point is, and you would play a little more aggressively with that style. You would do like a roach push into roach hydra, and then you would continue just like bashing the Terran's head in until they got a stronger army. And you would expand towards your opponent sometimes with that, but that was a very different era and doesn't really exist now. Even if you went Baneling Hydra, which still had Hydra in the name, it's still not quite the same as Roach Hydra was. We have double drops going to the main. Obviously, Nerchio realizes what map he is on. There's a ton of problems with it, and this is another one, which is just a large area for units to drop in. The Spore Crawlers were not close enough to the edge, so they didn't actually stop the Medivacs from dropping in here. Great scout on that Spire. Great positioning, too. He takes out one side of the Lings and then moves in to take out the other side. These Lings do have +1 carapace, but HeroMarine has 1-1. The Baneling's going to be filtered in one at a time. He doesn't pick up as quickly as he could have, but he still took out a lot of Banelings with that. Helen's gotten to the natural base as well and killed a couple of drones and a handful of Lings. The Viking continues to get its now 3rd Overlord kill. This was not too shabby, especially because both Medivacs ended up living. As I said, he got that scout in the Spire. Looks like Nerchio is already preemptively making another one, but also, again, making that Hydralisk den. It seems to be just what he's doing nowadays. The Spire not actually used, or maybe he keeps them both open as options and then decides after which one he's going to invest into. I'm not sure, but he definitely doesn't have to have a second Spire. I'll tell you that much. Also getting a pretty quick infestation pit here. Has a Baneling attack, well mostly Baneling attack set up on the 3rd base. No bunker this time for HeroMarine, and he has just sent his entire army down the middle of the map, not bothering to play around this ledge or this little area with the ramp. He's just literally rallied all of his Marines in here. Did he actually? He never built tanks. He went entirely Marines. The Banelings were pulled away from, so they don't actually get that good of kills, only 4, but HeroMarine just literally sent Marines across the map. Only Marines. Not really any Widow Mines, no tanks, no Marauders, just Marines, and they went deep on a creep too, so his split had to be good. It's decent, but there's just so many Banelings available that even with a good split, he was not going to be able to take out good trade. HeroMarine, though, still up 30 supply. That was without combat shields too. That feels a little bit late. That might have been a mistake, a huge mistake too. But now it's done, and the next attack could be maybe deadlier. So weird seeing just no factory units involved with that. But now he's got double tank production. Obviously still strong in the Marine production too. Still no Marauders. That was very interesting. Actually very scary, I suppose, for Nerchio too, as he probably double-checked and was like, I have Banelings, right? Like, please tell me I don't just lose to this. This is stupid. And he did, and he didn't lose to it, so he's feeling A-okay. 72 drones. Realized there's a drop over there. Has already sent units to respond, but he is still down 40-50 army supply, and 2-2 is about to finish for HeroMarine. Now to send the tower up even on the 3rd base in that very nice position to catch these type of Baneling run-bys. HeroMarine still looking very strong. 50 supply above. 4th base even being added on here. I mean, Nerchio, he might have survived that Marine stim in, but apparently it still did a lot of damage to the army. Unrecoverable damage, it looks like, as Nerchio is also trying to get to a hive. Did end up getting a double Spire that looks very useless now. HeroMarine does go back on to creep. There's a couple of tanks this time. And this time, HeroMarine is a little farther back, so he was able to split and run off of creep, which took out most of the Banelings. A handful are left over. There's no more splash. There's a single tank in the backside, but yet again on creep, the Banelings get those solid connections. 8 drones go down to the drop in the top side. A lot of Overlords going down too. A lot of those Medivacs end up living, and HeroMarine does take Catalina. GG. Thank you very much to Tuna SC for the Twitch Prime sub. The next app's going to be Odyssey. break this time. Nerchio already really eager to get in here. He's now down a game. Game is ready to go. Odyssey could be our last map of the night. Nerchio is now down 2-1. We're into game number 4. And in the top left, as the Blues are down a game, it's Nerchio. In the bottom right, as the Red Terran, he is HeroMarine. Going for the gas first, alright then. Well, Nerchio has been going for that Spire play into Hydras anyways, and I'm just like still kind of wrapping my head around that one. Obviously the second Spire was just, he forgot that he was remaking it, thought the other one would die, but like, why is he going for that? It seems to be a new development. We cast Nerchio often enough in these, like specifically really Corsair Cup, that I don't recall seeing it in any other games, but now twice. Or was it the third time? I guess the first game didn't really count because he was kind of getting literally everything available to Zerg against mech, so... But yeah, 2 times in a row. We'll do it again here on Odyssey. If so, I guess that is just something he's trying out now, and I would love to hear his reasoning. I guess... I mean, 200, was a Hydra den cost? Like 150 or something like that? I had no idea. Never thought about a Hydra den before. Well, I'm just thinking, like, is it worth having the options? 200 just for the Spire itself is already pretty heavy cost, so... I don't know. You know, I mean, eventually you want to get a Spire, but you're going to do it with Liberators, and the game goes really, really, really long, but why get it so early and then go to Hydras anyways? More importantly, Nerchio gone for the early pool, or the pool first. Not really that early. 4 lings going across the no, 6 lings, my bad. 4 is like the really odd number that I'm like, kind of like, is that even the right thing to do? Like, I'm not a pro Zerg playing WCS, but I feel like 4 lings is just such an odd thing to throw out there. 2 gets the kill in the SCV sometimes, 6 gets the kill in the command center sometimes, but 4, does it do any job better than 2 or 6? I don't think so. But most importantly, these lings did not try and bypass the Reaper, so 3 of them already go down. 2 of them, because I can math, already go down. And by seeing the extra 2 lings behind the first 4, I think we heard HeroMarine just cancel an add-on as he's thinking, oh, actually I have to respond to this. Now, a little deceiving. It wasn't continued ling production or fast speedlings behind this, which he might have been more worried about. I'm not sure what he canceled, but he canceled something. Yeah, what just lost. It's not that, but it is followed up by roaches, so Nerchio getting a little bit cheesy here. Now, the Reaper didn't die, which if you're not going to get the cancel or stall on the command center, you at least hope you kill the Reaper so they do not get the scouting. Didn't happen here. Nothing really went the right way for Nerchio, who, I mean, you know, kind of his fault. Didn't actually try and bypass the Reaper at all, but also kudos to HeroMarine, who probably kept the Reaper at home longer than necessary if you aren't worried about being attacked like that. If you are worried about early ling attacks, then by all means, keep the Reaper at home. But Nerchio is going for more than just the Roach follow-up. He's adding in those speedlings as well, so making this very all-in. And HeroMarine is just now going to get a glimpse of this. He sees the Roaches on the way, doesn't see the speedlings though, and that is a pretty big difference. The lower ground command center should just be abandoned here. Unfortunately, a tech lab is being built on the factory, so what's he going to get now? A Cyclone? He's going to try and get a tank. He's going to get a Liberator here. Bunker goes down on the low ground. He does see the speedlings now, more of them, and should realize they're going to be rallied in with the units. But I fear HeroMarine not taking this seriously enough is just letting his units on the low ground, continuing to mine from the natural. He does manage to take out the Lings. Oh, geez, don't get Widow Mine splashed yourself. That's the worst thing about Widow Mines. The Widow Mines actually get a nice hit on the Roaches, taking a large portion of their health, but the bunker isn't going to finish, and the Medivacs have to pick up whatever it can. Oh, just kidding, it did finish. Well, the mass repairs actually, could it be enough? There's still a decent number of SCVs, but they're getting thinned out to the Lings here. A tank pops out, a Liberator pops out. There's only one Ravager, and that bunker is not going down. Finally, it goes down with only 2 SCVs still able to repair that. But it did so much to help out HeroMarine here. It held on for so long. It gave time for the tank to pop out, for the Liberator to siege up, and for a lot of units to take a lot of damage from even 2 Marines inside of a bunker. The natural base, it didn't have to be given up, but 12 SCVs were lost. Is that enough for Nerchio? He's still only on 2 bases. He didn't even add a 3rd base for, like, Larva. 36 drones is, like, I guess it's 8 above HeroMarine, so it's, like, okay, but not great. Going for a fast lair beyond this, HeroMarine, I thought that was really, really, really bold of him to try and keep that low ground, but maybe it was the perfect plan there, barely holding on. Now he's going to be able to try and do some counter damage with Banshees. See the Liberator probably once he feels like he is safe to do so. And, oh, I kind of forgot he had a medevac. That didn't die. That's going to be able to provide the tiniest little bit of harassment. And scouting. Well, that scout, first and foremost, going to be on is a 3rd base down, and there's really not much follow-up a Zerg player can do. They're usually banking enough minerals to get a 3rd base anyways. But it's possible. So, alright, not the fastest follow-up here. Now going to be checking surely for the... That's the wrong person to look at. Going to be checking surely for the main base to see what type of tech is going on. Liberator, unfortunately, just sieges up in front of Queens and a Ravager. That wasn't too helpful. This drop gets to unload the Widow Mine, but clearly there's an Overseer already ready to go. And Nerchio has done a fabulous job defending against the counter-aggression. HeroMarine has to go back home with the Hellions, with the Banshees, and just be content with the defense he was able to pull off in his natural base. Medevac is now completely dry, although oddly enough the Widow Mine didn't die. Okay, well, I'm gonna shot on something. Hopefully nothing important. Sim has started for HeroMarine, and the Spire is almost already done, so there will definitely be a time of turmoil for HeroMarine, where he just won't have a lot of units, or good units, to spread around to deal with the mutas. This is actually a huge problem in Heart of the Swarm, when 2-base Spire was a very popular thing to do. It would actually be just before Terran had a lot of Marine production, so they would sometimes even take too much damage and have a snowball effect. Not nearly as popular as Legacy of the Void nowadays. Good use of the Medevac and the Hellions, gets 6 drones and saves all of them. Also scouts the Spire yet again. So knows to actually just get out of there as quick as possible. There's gotta be mutas on the way. Missile turrets are coming down in the mineral line, but I would say, you know, that production really only just now hitting its stride. I would like to see one around the production itself. A little bit ballsy otherwise. Supply depot is also coming down. Another popular thing to do if you got really fast mutas was to pair them up with like 20-30 lings. And if they were too confident against the mutas, you get a wraparound and then your Marines die, and it's really, really sad. But again, not very popular in Legacy of the Void. Still a concern. Once you get that wall up, once to play defensive until he really is confident against the mutas. That's still going to take some time. And unfortunately, while this is happening, HeroMarine is lacking information about the follow-up. It could be continued muta production, which we know it is, or it could be a transfer over into Roaches, you know, like something like that. But it is just Ling, Baneling, muta with the +1 flyer attack. Roaches were just used for the early game. Maybe he'll make like 6 more, make a couple Ravagers, but I doubt it. Oh no! Oh, that was a lot of mutas lost right there. 4 mutas get taken out. That was not what he wanted. Now is a pretty crucial time where 9 is decent, but 14 is better, and 20 is the ultimate goal type deal. So losing that is hurtful. And now HeroMarine feels confident. He has Stim 1-1. He's halfway to combat shields. Got a couple of tanks on his side too to help out against the Lings on the ground. But Nerchio, he's got a very small run-by setup. Super tiny. And HeroMarine, all I need is a handful of units, and it would be good enough to help out here. Mass Repair and the Missile Turret's going to go down, but not enough to save it. There's not quite enough Marines against the Mutas either, but production is now strong for HeroMarine, so that is not going to snowball into anything too dangerous. 6 SCVs go down, but Nerchio going to lose that 4th base. No cancel. Very important gold, very important 300 minerals. He doesn't have Baneling speed. He only has 1 Carapace. Combat shield is about to finish. HeroMarine looking very deadly, up 20 army supply. Even the Banshee's able to help out a little bit. If they get any snipes at all on Banelings, they are so worth it. Or the snipe on the Baneling nest. Either one, but he's not focus firing with them. They are just targeting down a couple of Lings. Marines are falling back to the tanks, up a ramp. Are there enough of them to take out the Mutas? Just barely not, but here come the reinforcements, and that should be it. Nerchio taps out. GG. HeroMarine takes the 3-1. Not the dominating 3-0 he had last time they played in the Corsair Cup, but still pretty close. Congratulations to HeroMarine for taking another first place prize. This guy looks fantastic in these leagues. And, congratulations to Nerchio for the 2nd place. I mean, it's so good. But it ultimately leaves HeroMarine as our victor. With that, it's the end of the cast. I want to thank you all for watching. I was solo casting because Rifkin was at PAX and is going home soon. So he'll be ready to go for the Alima League tomorrow morning in like 13 hours. I will be casting on a different channel in about 6 hours. Lots of Korean StarCraft basically in the next 16 hours, I guess. And if you want to check me out there, then you can follow me on Twitter and get the link. Twitter is at ZG Gaming. Twitch and YouTube are both Zombie Grub. I got some cool stuff for my YouTube up and ready to go. Mutations, StarCraft Remastered casts. I actually cast In Control recently, one of his replays, and it was a lot of fun. So you can follow me there for that. And I have been streaming as much as possible when I'm not super busy. Unfortunately, I had to go to a funeral this weekend and then nothing but casting for the next couple of hours. So, and then after that, I'm going to Montreal. So that's another thing to note. We have Alima League tomorrow, and then that's going to be it for BaseTradeTV until next week's Corsair Cup, I think. As everyone will be going to Montreal. Players, talent, us. I'll be casting on the main stage, so say hi to me if you would like. Rifkin's also going. He'll be in the crowd. And everyone else that I love and appreciate are going to be there too. So hopefully you guys will come by and say hi. It's a great event that happened last year too. If you guys want to continue supporting us, of course, follow the channel. Consider subscribing as well. Whenever you have Twitch Prime up and ready to go, think of us. And then also look down below at the Corsair links. This is the Corsair Cup, sponsored by Corsair and Twitch. And if you're looking for anything, peripherals or computer, stuff, then that's the place to do it. We also are sponsored by MeUndies, which has been linked in chat now a couple of times. And we are getting, we do have a discount for that if you use our referral code. So hopefully that ends up being a good partnership. And yeah, I think that just about does it. We'll see you tomorrow for the Alima League at 7 in the morning, Eastern time, whatever else is near time. Rifkin will be back hopefully for that as well. And that's it. See you guys tomorrow for the Alima League.